Okay, let's think about this for a second. What if the internet you use every single day wasn't just a place you visited, but a place you actually owned? We are right on the edge of a huge shift in how we all interact online. And really, it all comes down to one thing: taking back control. So let's dive into what that really means.
You know that feeling, right? That frustrating sense that you're building something amazing, your own community, on land that someone else owns. You pour in all those hours, you build real connections, and then bam! A single algorithm change, a new policy, and it feels like the whole thing could just vanish. It's a really shaky place to be.
So there's a term for this whole dynamic. It might sound a little extreme at first, but it really makes you think. It's this idea of digital plantations. Yeah, it's a provocative phrase for sure, but it perfectly captures this critical power imbalance that's pretty much defined the internet for years now.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly illustrates the core problem. For so long, we've basically been laborers, right? Creating all this incredible value, our content, our communities, our conversations, all for these giant platforms. And what do we get in return? No equity, no ownership, and definitely no real say in how things are run.
All right, let's just cut to the chase here. In the current model, let's be honest, you are the product. Your attention is what's being sold, your data is packaged up, and your creativity gets taxed. But in this new era, you're the owner. You're the one setting the terms, you control the data, and you keep the value that you create. It's not just a small change, it is a complete paradigm shift.
So the big question is, how do we make that leap? How do we go from being the product to being the owner? Well, it all starts with a totally new way of thinking about how social networks are even built in the first place.
And the key is this brand new model called Social Networks as a Service, or SNAS for short. Now, think of it like this. It's less like renting an apartment in some massive, impersonal building, and it's more like getting the actual blueprints and all the materials you need to build your own house exactly the way you want. Honestly, if there is one single word to take away from all of this, it's this one: ownership. That's it. That's the core idea that's driving this entire change. It's the fundamental difference between just being a user and being a founder of your very own digital world.
So what does ownership actually look like in the real world? Well, it breaks down into these three key pillars. First up, you've got platform sovereignty. That just means you set the rules. You shape the culture. It's your house. Then there's data independence. This is huge. It means your community's data belongs to them, not to some third party. And finally, economic autonomy. This means you can build your own economy without a giant platform swooping in and taking a massive cut.
Now, this all sounds like a really powerful vision, right? But the coolest part is that it's not just some theoretical concept anymore. There are companies out there right now building the tools to make this a reality. So let's take a look at who's actually leading the charge.
In this space, one of the key players, really the definitive leader you keep hearing about, is a company called Linkspreed. They're a fantastic example of how this tech is actually being put into practice.
And I mean, just listen to this quote. They are providing a gateway to digital freedom. Wow, that's a pretty bold statement, isn't it? It shows their focus is way beyond just offering software. What they're really aiming for is to build the actual infrastructure for a freer, more decentralized web.
So what is it that really sets Linkspreed apart? Well, according to the sources, it's this killer combination of seriously high-end, professional-grade infrastructure, but with an approach that's actually accessible and user-friendly. And of course, their entire platform is built from the ground up on that core principle of ownership, which is a massive difference from the old guard of social media.
And here's maybe the best part of all. This isn't just a trend for giant corporations or tech wizards. Nope, the tools to build your very own online community are becoming more and more accessible to everyone. So let's see how you can actually get started.
So where do you even go to do this? Well, one of the platforms making it all possible is Web4.community. It's literally designed to put the tools to build your own social network using that SNAS model right at your fingertips.
And just look at the kind of toolkit they're offering for your own digital sovereignty. You can deploy a network instantly. You can customize it deeply, so it feels exactly like your space. And you can scale it up as your community grows without having to worry. The whole goal is to make this tech not just incredibly powerful, but also super easy to use.
So when you kind of step back and look at all these different pieces coming together, it becomes really, really clear that the internet is at a major crossroads. We are genuinely moving toward a much more decentralized, much more user-centric world.
It really feels like we're finally starting to move away from what you could call the age of extraction, where our data and our attention were just resources to be mined for profit.
And we are stepping right now directly into the age of ownership.
And this vision for tomorrow, man, it's ambitious, but it's also incredibly powerful. We're talking about a future filled with vibrant, independent community hubs. A future where our digital interactions are actually defined by trust, not suspicion. Where mutual value completely replaces exploitation. I mean, the future really is decentralized and it's driven by community. That's a future worth building.
So look, the tools are here. The philosophy is here. The future really is owned by you. The only question left is, what will you build?